Hey, good morning, everybody. So, yes, it's a little bit chilly out here, and I'm wearing my beautiful hat for Ohio that I got at the mall a couple of years back and thought it was very fitting for today. So, anyways, yes, happy Sunday. It is almost winter, it feels like, and I'm very happy to be alive. It's nice to see all of you guys coming through. So, yeah, lately I've been just kind of very chill, not really too triggered too much, except when I see some friends of mine that I knew, that I know or knew within the last few years that we have mutual friends that they're now saying, "Oh, you need to pray for my friend so and so because they're in the hospital." And I'm just like, "My God, I have a protocol. I have a protocol that you don't have to go crazy balls to the wall because if you've been fighting an illness for a long period of time and you're not like in stage 4 hospice, you have time to go and look at this protocol and see what it's going to do for you and what the components are made up of this protocol." And so I think that's the only triggers that I have is that people should not be passing away. People should not be stuck in the hospital now on that major accelerated death trajectory. If you are out of the hospital and you're at home and you're fighting an illness, you have freaking time. As soon as you get transferred into a hospital and you're under a doctor's care, you can almost forget about it because that's going to be a major uphill fight and there is no good ending with that. So with that said, the last few weeks, I've been trying to figure out how to change my speech and how to change my vernacular. And, the Federal Trade Commission really had me look at how I speak and how I need to start referencing my protocol in a very different way. And it really does coincide with my whole thought process around one-dimensional programming, which is you see one word and then you automatically think it means this. So, just like with the allopathic and holistic market, the herbs, when someone says, "Oh, take garlic because it's healthy," people don't look beyond the word garlic and they think it's healthy, but they don't see that it's actually heavy metals that causes a negative immune response. So, which means that it makes sense that I don't make these claims that I can reverse, all cancer, disease, and chronic illness, or reverse the aging process, or regrow limbs and organs, even if you're born without them. It would make sense not to make those claims because that is still very one-dimensional. Those are specifics. Now we have to look at a bigger picture, okay? Now we got to look at positive and negative elements because there are a lot of negative elements in the allopathic and the holistic world that are not obvious because there's so much of that one-dimensional programming. Just because they said that elderberry syrup and kombucha, manages your symptoms, it's not something that the body needs over a long period of time because guess what? Elderberry syrup houses, the recipe, it houses a lot of concentrated sugar that feeds cancer. It houses spices like turmeric or lemon, which is another detox, and that's a negative element. And it houses like ginger and honey, which is another negative element. It's antibiotic and it feeds cancer because it's sugar. So those actually cause more complications and it leaves you open. So now I have to start really referencing the positive and negative elements. And then the body's obvious ability to be able to then regenerate cells at a very fast level based upon the access to nutrition, as long as you're not feeding the beast. You're not feeding cancer. You're not destroying your immune system because right now I see still a lot of my anti-vax people still so focused on not being vaccinated. And then they turn to all of these negative elements, the herbs, the detoxes, the elderberry syrups, the kombuchas, the apple cider vinegars. It's like, as much as I try to pound it in their head, you got to read my book. You got to understand that these are negative elements. Anything that they use in the allopathic and the holistic market in reaction to cancer, disease, and chronic illness, they are all negative elements because they are antibiotic for one. Number two, they only work for a very short amount of time. Because if your expectation is to manage your symptoms and disappear your symptoms, right, for a minute, or disappear your pain for a minute, that means that you're trying to stop the body from healing because pain is healing. And then why they don't work, that's why there's so many different new antibiotics on the market, new cures on the market, is because the body finally adapts to that. Okay? They realize that, okay, this is a poison that we have to now overcome and adapt to it. And that's why the pain returns, and that's why the symptoms return. Because just like with antibiotics, resistance and tolerance, it's the same thing with vaccines. As soon as you get a vaccine of one pathogen, guess what? You're now immune for the rest of your life. But now you're getting all these extra elements that your body doesn't need. And you just sustained a mutation that you cannot overcome because you believe in vaccines. So every single time you get a vaccine, yeah, you're going to be immune to that specific strain. And then so is everybody else around you because you're dropping all those pathogens around you. So vaccines work just like the allopathic and the holistic market. They keep after creating more to get an immune response. And then one has a marketing of it, well, you'll never, ever get sick again, but you just sustained a mutation. So you just took a hit. But then if you're anti-vax, you're around unvaccinated people. So guess what? Your system still took a hit. And then guess what? You're doing nothing to regenerate and overcome that hit. So that's why you're seeing your kids who are unvaccinated still sick. People don't realize that being unvaccinated is not enough. It's understanding the positive and the negative elements that are relative to the laws of your immune system. And that's why you have to look deeper than the word garlic or the word elderberry syrup or the word unvax or the word detox or the word herbs, because all of those things are very one-dimensional programming, because they figured out that people don't look deeper than the written word. They just look at the marketing, and that's all they listen to. And it's so obvious when you go into these holistic groups and somebody asks this question, right? Oh, what do I do for my kid who has this cold? And then it's so predictable to see everybody's response. Kombucha, elderberry syrup, a detox, an herb, or some lemon juice, or honey. And honey is probably the worst thing to give to any of your kids, as well as yourself. Honey is probably, I'll tell you what, honey is the worst. It's antibiotic for one, and it's pure freaking sugar. So you would do your whole family an injustice if you buy a whole jar of honey. That is absolutely like blasphemy in the world of Jilly Juice, because that is probably the most negative element you'll ever give to your family. So honey is not on my protocol. Neither is, any of the sugars and the sugar substitutes and the aspartames and agave syrups and all that, and the syrups and all of that, right? That is not on my protocol, because I don't want people falling into that habit of taking in massive amounts of organic sugar thinking that it's healthy. With some of the keto diet, when I'm watching all the keto diets and they're eating like this ice cream, organic cream. What is organic cream? Is it like not pasteurized, so it's full of parasites? What's this organic? No, milk is milk. It's full of pus. It's full of nasties. It's full of milk is horrible for you. So this whole keto diet is another smoke and mirrors, get you thinking that you're eating healthy, but you're really not. And this whole thing with the urine therapy, oh my God, I was about to die yesterday when we were talking about urine therapy. Do you know that when your body is filtering out all the bad stuff, all the excess heavy metals, because remember, you have an elemental composition of the human body, right? So, which means that you take in nutrients and you're taking in other elements like heavy metals, right? And then you're abiding by the laws of your immune system, which means that if all of your filtration processes work, like your skin and your lungs and your digestive system and your urinary tract system, okay, and your ear, nose, and throat, all of that, if they're working correctly, they're going to release all of the excess elements that your body doesn't need, because it has to keep it balanced. Why do you think there's a lot of, waterfalls on my protocol? Because it's releasing the excess heavy metals and parasites and foreign objects that your body doesn't need. Well, what do you think urine is? Urine is basically the liquefied form of heavy metals, as well as pathogens and parasites that your body doesn't need. If your body needed what's in the urine, it would keep it. It wouldn't release it into the toilet. Some people are drinking their urine. They're drinking antibiotics. They're drinking heavy metals. No different than going and getting a vaccine full of heavy metals. No different than taking in bentonite clay, diatomaceous earth, baking soda, what else? Lemon water and honey. It's no different. Urine is a waste product. It should never, ever be ingested. But there are people who still want to be newfangled, and they're like, oh, we got to take borax, which I've tried, but it's horrible for you. Oh, we got to take diatomaceous earth. Oh, we got to do urine. What's next? Are you going to eat your shit too? I mean, is that the next thing, is you're going to eat your crap? Because it has all these heavy metals that are give you immune response, and it may make you throw up, so you're purging out maybe 1 or 2 worms. That's kind of where you're going. That's where we're going, is we're trying to find all the negative elements in our society because the body is finding resistance to all of those heavy metals, those antibiotics. And so now you have to create another conglomeration of negative elements to then maybe release the body from pain, but pain is healing. So, I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to go find some, I don't know, they already do it. Mercury and arsenic and all that's already in the garlic. So they're already, you're already poisoning yourself with excess heavy metals when someone says, well, what do I do for this kind of pain? Or for a cold? Oh, take a bunch of garlic. That's the wrong way to look at it. You don't want to use negative elements to manage your chronic illness. That's only going to compound the problem. You're already on a death trajectory. Why would you add more excess heavy metals that your body is trying to release to then, maybe give you an immune response, maybe purge a little bit, and then maybe release, some pain a little bit, but you need pain. Pain is healing, but you have to make sure that you're reinforcing your immune system so your body can take the nutrients so that way you're not in pain anymore down the road. The reason why you're all in pain and you keep taking your antibiotics and your medication is because the body is trying to heal and it's trying to take and derive some kind of, building blocks of regenerating your cells from the meager nutrition that you have. Okay? And then what happens while you're in a continuous pain is because you're not giving your body what it needs. And so it's trying to heal, but it's not. And then guess what? The pain is so massive for people that they commit suicide because they're not able to get over that hump, and the body is so desperately trying to live, or they're totally anesthetizing themselves with pills, powder, supplements, and cannabis, and then they basically leave the world completely zombified. That's kind of where we're headed up, and that's why we're seeing right now, and that's why I've been so on the cannabis world, because this is the new revolutionary product that hardly anyone has been using. So that's why it's so wonderful. Oh, the cannabis, it relieved my neuropathy, it relieved my pain. Yeah, guess what? Because the body hasn't finally figured out a tolerance to it. But guess what? It's only going to be a matter of time before it doesn't work anymore. Then you got to go find another strain and then another strain. And how much money are you going to be shelling out for all of these antibiotics that your body's going to finally gain a tolerance to and adapt to? And then the body's going to want to heal, which means that you're in pain. So that's why I'm so now changing my whole, vernacular and my whole speech when it comes to my protocol and saying, hey, you are dabbling in the negative elements. It's only going to come out in a negative way. The more you dabble in negative, it will be negative on your end, at the end of your cycle. But if you dabble in the positive elements and it is friendly to your immune system and it is adhering to the elemental composition of the human body, then you're only going to win. And then you now have to understand why it is that you are in pain, and you have to face that pain. That's why this protocol is so controversial, because no one wants to face what truly pain is. They want to run away. They want to anesthetize, whether it's drinking, smoking, or taking a bunch of drugs. That's what people want to do. They don't want to face the pain. And then guess what? That pain turns into cancer. And then guess what? You're basically out the door. You are in the next road to hospice and then gone. And that's where everybody is going that is playing with the cannabis world, playing with the drugs world. You are on your way to the next, to your next life, which is basically death. And there is nothing friendly about death. Nobody has a choice how they leave this earth. Some people will stroke the hell out and they'll be stuck in a nursing home on life support for the next 10 years. Is that something that you want? Or do you want to say, hey, let me look at Jillian's protocol and see what the positive elements are. And let me take a look at all of her science that she has, backed up and substantiated, because the only thing the FTC said is that you cannot make these specific claims. I freaking get it. So I'm not making those claims anymore. Now it's going to be about the positive and negative elements, because that's really what it comes down to. Forget the words. The words don't mean anything because it's already fooled you guys. So many of you are so fooled by the words herbs and detoxes and unvax versus vax that you fail to see deeper behind all of that. Now it's about positive and negative elements and the biochemistry of the body. So yesterday I was focusing on math and English, math being the logical side and English being the emotional side, the programming. And right now with people's biochemistries, which is the top of the pyramid, all messed up, they're falling into the propaganda of math and English. But if we get people's biochemistries all in equilibrium, then the math and English will be conjoined, and now you'll have a very logical, not programmed person that can think for themselves and not fall for all the smoke and mirrors and the propaganda. But that takes somebody willing to actually step outside of themselves and outside of their comfort zone and say, okay, I'm going to steel myself and read Jillian's book and see what the fuck she's talking about, because she actually does make sense. That's why I'm getting all this crazy controversy, because I am totally changing the paradigm of our society. Stop running away from your issues. Stop trying to anesthetize yourself with all these medications. And the reason why you're on these medications is because your body has not gotten what it needs. So what they're doing is they're taking all these different elements and they're manipulating your different systems to keep you going. That's called artificial intelligence. You're not actually tapping into the true intelligence of your body. You're basically being artificially intelligentized by the system until your body finally breaks down, until you are no more, until that one day that you're going to have this heart attack or this stroke, or you're just, you're going to be out of sorts and you're going to get into a car accident. And then there you go. That will be done with. I mean, that's basically what's going to happen for those that do not actually tap into the intelligence of their immune system. And they still want to play in the games of dabbling into this and this negative elements here, drinking the urine and taking all their pills, which is fine. Here's the thing. When you're on my protocol, you will still continue to take all your pills. You will not get off any of your addictions, any of your prescription medications, or anything that you are like trying to survive on. Eventually, one day, your body's going to get what it needs, and then you're not going to want to take the addictions. You're not going to have those addictions. But that will happen over time. But right now, you got to take my drink and let your body decide what it needs to prioritize first, because it's a positive element that does take time. It took you 50 years to get this fucked up. It's going to take some time for you to get finally unraveled and finally put together the right way. But you got to let your body do what it needs to do. You can't dictate what needs to happen. Your body does when it gets exposed to the right elements. And then you understand what's going on. Pain is healing. Some of you can't handle the pain on a massive level. I get it. So smoke some pot if you have to. But I don't at all promote anybody taking cannabis oil sublingually. And thank God it's illegal here in Ohio. I don't know how the hell they get away with selling it, retailing it, but then you have it in your possession. It's like, it's a felony. That's what I don't understand, is how can you sell it but make it that's what I'm saying. The government gets paid on both sides. Do you realize that's why the cannabis industry exists? Is because the government will make it illegal, but they'll make it legal for the retailer to sell it. So they get taxes and they get then they get you in jail, or they get you paying your fines because you have CBD oil in your possession. So don't even mess with CBD oil. It's not even worth it. Why give the money to the system twice? Why even risk your career when you could be dabbling into cabbage water and salt, which is like the most healthiest thing ever? No one's ever died from cabbage. Okay. So yeah, I mean, so read my book, check out my information. I'm not going to be making the same claims that I did because it doesn't make sense. Not all the claims that I've made is going to apply to you, but look at this. All we have is today. We don't have tomorrow. We already had yesterday, but yesterday is all the data that you are accumulating over time. If you pass away, all that data that you've been accumulating dies with you. And then you can't even pass it on to your kid, who will then make the same mistakes as you because you never learned from your mistakes. And then you never taught your kid how to learn from those mistakes. And then guess what? The kid falls right in your footsteps. And that's why you see generational death, generational cancer, disease, and chronic illness, because you have not learned your lessons in this life and you died before you can learn them. And then your kid falls right over the cliff with you. So what would happen if you actually were able to regenerate your cells faster than you're degrading them? And every day you wake up, you feel amazing, you look amazing. What would you die from aside from a crazy freak tornado? But hey, even with all the crazy, they'll tell you when weather systems are coming through, it's not going to just happen all at once. And then like a big beam is going to come after you, because you'd all know that what the government can do, right? No, they tell you, hey, we're going to have this major hurricane storm, so it's best to get to higher ground. And if you don't heed that warning and you stay where you are and you're next to the ocean, then you're right now, that's how you would die, because your mind isn't all there to heed the warnings. People will tell you, the government will tell you what they're going to do. And then if you're not listening, then guess what? That's why people die. So the government's going to tell you what's going to happen to you if you listen to them, right? And if you don't heed that warning or look at that data, then guess what? You're just going to pass away. And you basically made that choice. No different than cannabis. You keep smoking your cannabis, you keep getting your cannabis oil, you keep taking all of your herbs, and then you look at all these herbalists who are aging rapidly. They're already telling you what's going to happen to you when you keep taking these things. Look at Rick Simpson. Look at Cheech Marin. Look at Tommy Chong. You really want to end up like them? Look at, oh God, all these different health gurus. They're all aging rapidly. You really want to end up like these people? I mean, this is the data that you have to be paying attention to. If they say they're so healthy, but yet they're rapidly aging and they're declining in health, how is that healthy? If your doctor or you're naturopathic, they're aging, they're wearing glasses, and they're balding, they're obese. Do you really want to end up like your naturopathic, like your doctor? And yeah, if they're young, but they're taking on protocols that they never invented, they're taking on somebody else's work, ask them, where did you learn your stuff from? Oh, I learned it from a university. Oh yeah, your professor who's freaking aging. Oh yeah, the person that discovered, the keto diet or whatever, or Dr. Sebi. Everyone loves Dr. Sebi, but he was aging. No matter, you could say, oh yeah, he was murdered. Whatever. He was rapidly aging. Do you really want to end up like Dr. Sebi, rapidly aging? So this is the data you have to pay attention to, so that way you can make better decisions in the future, and then you can continuously live. I didn't want to say live forever. You have all potential in the world to live as long as you choose to, as long as you're making the right choices. I can never tell anybody they can live forever. Forever is still, that's a programming. What is forever? You take everything day by day. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and we already know what happened yesterday. So all we have is today. So to make the best choices today, so you can have tomorrow. And then potentially, who knows after that, right? But you can all plan for Christmas, but you don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea what's going to happen. But if you keep, if you do what you do today, you will see an amazing tomorrow. But tomorrow is never guaranteed to anybody. Because every single choice you make will then tell you what's going to happen tomorrow. All right. Love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Happy Sunday. Bye.